Welcome back to Rapping Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. It's the boy T the Monster, and god damn it, we got a lot to talk about here on the show after that very explosive episode of Monday Night Raw. So, of course, as always, if you haven't and you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And of course, as always, if you're new, we're trying to bring WrestleMania to Detroit by 2030. So, let's get right into the episode here of Monday Night Raw. Got my notes, of course, as always. Got a little joint to help as well going into the show. So the first segment, ladies and gentlemen, on the show tonight, or this afternoon rather, was John Cena and Cody Rhodes. That was the first segment. So for those who didn't see and for those who are catching the highlights, this segment was fucking cooking. Now, like, even Cody came out and was like, let me guess, you're about to cook me, right? And John was like, no, I'm not about to cook you. I'm gonna bury your ass. And it's like, oh shit. And then from there on, shit just kind of hit the fan. Both men, of course, taking verbal, like, haymakers at each other. They're going at each other on all kinds of shit. I got some quotes here, of course. Cody came out and pretty much disarmed Cena. He kind of like, what are you going to talk about? You're going to talk about my lisp? Everyone knows I can't say S words. You're going to talk about, you know, this and this and that. And Cena actually came out and talked about something completely different that was kind of left field, which I do like seeing, and it wasn't predictable. Also, he came out, like I said, he disarmed John Cena. He said that he was going to bury him, and he referred to Cody as, and I quote, his chauffeur. And he called him a fucking Nepo baby, which is crazy. And the crowd went kind of crazy for that shit too, which is obvious. Of course, Cody's dad being Dusty Rhodes and shit like that in the business. Along with him calling him, and Cena, as I quote, called him an errand boy that got lucky. And he said, you're like a 16-year-old afraid of public speaking. And of course, Cody fired back at all that shit with like haymakers. He said, you're calling me a 16-year-old who's, you know, whatever, you know, who can't speak, fine, but you're out here hanging with Zac Efron wishing he was 16. And I'm like, damn, shit, that motherfucker cook that nigga Cena. So, said that, then he went on to tell Cena that you got more dick in your promo than you do in your jorts. Pause, which I thought was kind of interesting, because if you roll with him, how do you know that? Just saying, you went and told us that you was driving around. Why do you know that, Cody? Why do you know that? And Cody, what? Excuse me. And Cody, why are you always referring to someone's penis? You did that shit with The Rock. I want to know. That's strike two, Cody. God damn it. But anyway, excuse me. The show is elevated today. Cody went on to also tell John Cena that you're still my hero, but you're a piece of shit. And John Cena went on to say that you can't wipe my ass, basically. Your talent can't wipe my ass, and you're mediocre. He said, I don't bury talent, I bury mediocrity. And I'm like, god damn. And that made me think about everybody that John Cena buried, and it was like, he has a point. But Cody ended, of course, with telling John Cena, hey, at least John, no one's ever told me that I can't wrestle. John gets back in the ring looking like he finna scrap. I hate when does anyone else hate when John Cena like he finna scrap? Because, like, John, we know you. We know you're not about to scrap. No one gets ready to scrap like this. No one do that shit. And no one goes, if I'm about to scrap, I'm gonna just whoop your ass. I'm gonna get in the ring and tackle you. Fuck all that extra shit. Cody, of course, hit him with a crossroads and stood over him triumphant. And then he went to commercial break. So, after that, of course, you had the New Catch Republic that returned Pete Dunne, and I forgot the name of the other individual, so please don't tell me to quote it. They returned, of course, yesterday over in the United Kingdom. A good homecoming for both men, of course. And they faced the New Day of Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. They put on a solid match. I will say this. It was a great match, a solid match between the two teams. And it's going to be interesting to see going forward, like, into WrestleMania with the tag team titles, because after that match, of course, they ran into the War Raiders and they kind of had like a little standoff there, just kind of looking at each other. I want to see what's going to happen, like what's going to be the tag team match for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. That's one thing that hasn't been talked about for both the women and the men. Like, what's going to be the matches with that going forward. We got to get those belts on the line for the PPV, man. Yeah, I said it PPV. I'm old school, not PLE. I got to get used to it. Also, what I want to say is, does anybody else not like the New Day's new theme song? I don't really fuck with the New Day's new theme song. I don't know. I mean, I get, like, you know, when you do a character change, you gotta be heel, you gotta, like, you know, be different and shit, but, like, some shit just gotta be not fuck with, you know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds like Def Rebel got back at it in the studio again. Hopefully they didn't. But moving on, of course, Jay and Gunther. Now, Jimmy and Gunther, which essentially leads to Jay and Gunther. This build-up, this match, of course, they put on. It was a brawl. You know, Jimmy did his thing for a little bit, but ultimately this came down to like Gunther beating the shit out of Jimmy Uso. And after that slap last week, I think it was kind of justified. I'm not gonna hold you, but I do think that I need to see like from Jimmy Uso, like I need to see a crash out. Like I've been waiting to see a crash out from Jimmy for the longest, and even with them shedding all that blood, like Jimmy Uso shedding that blood for Gunther to make the story more strong and things like that. Gunther having the sight of Gunther just standing there with his blood on him, great heel work for one, like great heel work and character work. But let's just make sure that that bloodshed was worth it, and by that I mean at WrestleMania this match has to be solid. We got to make sure that Jay is completely over at the end of the match, and we have to make sure that he's not looking weak, kind of like how he's been doing leading up this entire time going into WrestleMania. And then, like I said before, like I need Jay to crash out now. Like you just beat my brother ass in front of me, zip tied to the rope. There's an like Jay, you gotta fucking crash out. It's 19 days left until WrestleMania. You need to sneak up on Gunther at the hotel. God damn it, smack him while you sleep, like something. Cause fuck, you've been getting your ass kicked this entire time. So Jay, I need you to do that crash out for me, brother. I need that crash out. Next match of the night, of course, was the IC title match. Sorry, not IC title match. I'm calling it the IC title turmoil. But there was a tag team match, of course, with Braun Breaker and Penta versus the Judgment Day of Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor. And that match, of course, I believe it's set up for that fatal four-way, as we saw what happened toward the end of the match. Finn, of course, pins Penta at the end of the match, and which sets up toward a backstage segment at the end of the match, of course, between Braun and Penta, getting into it a little bit. This, of course, leads into another segment at the end or later on in the night, of course, where Finn is celebrating the win, saying he's going to go see Adam Pearce to talk about getting a match for the IC title. Finn walks away, and then there's, of course, Liv, and there's Raquel Rodriguez standing there, and Dominic Mysterio. Liv then's like, why is he talking about making it about him, or making it about him and talking about him going to get an IC title shot? So she then goes to talk to Adam Pearce about getting Dom a IC title shot as well, which of course is what I kind of been saying what's going to happen, which is going to be a fatal four-way at WrestleMania for the IC title. Who walks out as champion? Probably Braun Breaker. Like really, probably Braun Breaker. Maybe Penta walks out, but let's see. If Penta walks out, I think Braun Breaker should probably be the one to feud with Jey Uso after that for the World Championship. We'll see. And then also, of course, with that happening, as you see each other kind of going behind each other's back there, the Judgment Day, they're pretty much doomed. Like, you know, after WrestleMania, it's going to probably be over for that faction, which is good because it's like, you know, they held together. They had different versions of the faction and they ran their course. Now it's like, all right, let's see what everyone can do. Honestly, I want to see what Dom can do on his own. Maybe get him a singles title. He's still one of the hottest heels on the roster. What happens with him going forward? Who does he team with? Does he kind of carve a path for his own? Does he team with somebody? Does he go for singles titles? Let's see. Finn being the OG and the veteran of the group, you know, maybe he's, you know, put into the World Heavyweight Championship, you know, feud with Jey Uso. Who knows? I don't know. There's much things that can happen, but pretty much Judgment Day is doomed after Mania. Now, the main event, of course. The main event that was promoted last week, in which I believe this was a solid main event tonight. Of course, Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley, and this was a great match by both women, and I think all three participants in this match did a phenomenal job as well. It was a solid match, great match, like great spots between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, some chain wrestling in between there as well. You know, between the two, kind of showing the chemistry that they have. There weren't any botches really in this match. Also, you can see the chemistry they have in the match, or that they have between each other. And honestly, just looking at how the match went, it could have went either way. If you know the finish, then you kind of know how it ended. But this match could have went either way going into WrestleMania, and I could have seen Rhea Ripley winning, of course, after Bianca getting knocked out and pretty much the ref being able to count to 20, and then of course Io Sky putting on the match that she did and actually putting Rhea away for the most part before the disqualification. So it's going to be great to see what happens going into WrestleMania. Obviously, there's going to be a triple threat. Bianca Belair did a great she did a great job as a referee. The crowd was into it as I said, and you know, ultimately it was just an ultimate and great display of all the women, or the top women, or some of the top women in WWE putting on a great match, showing that they can still main event, not just say Monday Night Raw. But shit, if y'all doing matches like this on Monday Night Raw as a main event, add Bianca Belair as a performer, and you could probably like main event this shit at WrestleMania. Who fucking knows? But like, they had a great match. Honestly, that's just something I believe that was good. And going into Mania, it's going to be great to see what they're all three of them going to be able to put on together in a solid match. The story at first, and as I mentioned, as you guys have been watching on here, I did think it was kind of mediocre and a slow build, of course, with the repetitive weeks of the same shit. But now we got a little fire to it, so let's see how they cook. But that's all I have for us this week here on Rappin' Wrestling. And if you haven't, of course, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. As I said before, we're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. As of now, we are already over 600,000 views on the channel, so thank you very much. Most of these are on Reels, and we're trying to get more traction here to the long form video, so thank you for that. Again, that's why I want you to be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, because that helps the algorithm. Until then, as you know, we're trying to bring WrestleMania here to Detroit by 2030, and that's the goal. So I'll see you next time. Peace.